You know, my dad actually watches all of my videos, so Dad, if you're watching this one, don't watch this one. Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, is, as the title would suggest, a dating simulator where you play as a dad who dates other dads, and is also probably one of the most surprisingly good games I've ever played. It's a game made by the Game Grumps, which is a YouTube channel that I fucking love. I don't watch them quite as religiously as I used to, but back in the day, I would watch every single video they put out every day without fail. So when a game comes along that promises to have the same quirky sense of humor that the Grumps have, I'm all over that shit like pimples on a teenager. Like plaid on a hipster. Like a dad on a barbecue. Yeah, that's the one. So in this game, you play as a dad who's moved across town with his daughter Amanda, and thankfully, you get to design your own dad. Personally, I made my dad look like a standard cool guy and named him Cool Dad in hopes that something good would happen, but unfortunately it oh my god, it happened! You move into your new neighborhood and wouldn't you know, it's full of hot single dads all wanting to be your friend, or maybe more. Like a best friend. There's Joseph, the religious family man, Craig, your old college roommate, Robert, the mysterious guy who's a little weird. Just a little, though. There's Brian, the man who I believe the term bear was invented for. Damien, a guy who has the sweetest cape I've ever seen. Hugo, a guy who I think would make for a good Doctor Who if the Doctor was, you know, mustached. And Matt, a guy who I could make some snarky comment about, but he's the one I went for in the end, so, you know, I mean, I had to go for someone, and he seemed cool, so shut up, I don't have a crush, you have a crush. Now I'm not gonna lie, going into this game I was expecting a very silly and light-hearted story about a bunch of dads hanging out and making wonderful, terrible puns all the time. And I'm not saying there wasn't a fair amount of that, in fact they even go for the oldest and most sacred dad pun of all time at one point, which made me just so happy. But really, the story was actually way better than I was expecting. I mean, I knew it would make me laugh, but that's kind of all I thought it would do. I never expected it to make me, you know, feel stuff. One of the best things about this game is the relationship between your character and his daughter Amanda. It feels so fucking weird saying this because I know what kind of game this is, but there are some legitimately really touching and heartwarming moments between you and her. And I think that's actually really impressive considering the very comedic, almost satirical tone of the game and the fact that you can make your fucking guy look like this and it's still adorable. I mean, fucking hell, if that's not good writing for you, then I don't know what is. Not that I want you to think that this is some sort of poetic, psychological exploration into the relationship between a father and daughter or anything, far from it. Most of the time you are just cracking jokes and talking about dogs, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel like the gameplay is pretty self-explanatory at this point, but just in case you don't know, basically, you click, and 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 then you gotta choose something to say, cause, there's dialogue options and stuff. And then you click, and you click, and you click, and you click! I believe this is what they call a visual novel. You know, that thing where you're just reading through a story with pictures and cutouts of characters and grunting where voice acting should be. And every now and then, you get to pick something to say that the characters will either like or not like. Personally, this kind of game has never really been for me. I believe that if a game is going to literally rely entirely on its story to carry the experience, then it's gotta be a pretty fucking good one to pull it off. Thankfully though, Dream Daddy's story is cooler than Socks with Sandals, but the game does have a few short mini-games sprinkled in as well. Stuff like a Pokemon game, or a mini-golf game, or a game where you have to prevent penguins from escaping their habitat. Hey, what the fuck? They're cheating! They're nothing groundbreaking, but still, it was just fun to do something different every now and then. It's not entirely sunshine and daisies though. For some reason, Hugo and Damien's voice quality was significantly worse than everyone else's. I mean, obviously that's not exactly a deal-breaking disgrace, but it was kinda...
I'm sensing a romance between us. A chemical romance. What? That's a band?
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, I can't even be pretend angry at this game. Like I said, it's funny, it's sweet, and for a first attempt at making a game from the Game Grumps team, I think it deserves a lot of love. This was actually the first visual novel game I'd ever played, and even though I knew I'd probably like it, I had no idea it would be this genuinely engaging and surprisingly well written. So yeah, I would really recommend Dream Daddy. It's a funny, quirky, charming experience that's absolutely dadical. Am I right? Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. How many times did I say dad or daddy in this video? Comment below now for your chance to win my old school Game Grumps iPhone 4 cover. Just kidding, this is literally the best thing I own, and if you want it, you're gonna have to pry it from my cold dead hand.